This is a difficult video for me to record, but my heart is heavy and I feel like I need to talk about what's going on with Charlie Kirk. Yesterday, a colleague and a friend of mine and a coworker came to my office and said, "Did you see CNN and what just happened with Charlie Kirk?" No, I didn't. Who's Charlie Kirk? Like, sincerely, I didn't know who that was. And then they went, got their laptop and showed me a picture of Charlie Kirk. I'm like, oh yeah, I know who that is. What happened? And they said they were just shot. And I'm like, oh my God. And then showed me the rest of the CNN article from yesterday saying they were answering questions about transgender shootings. My first response was, oh my God, please, Lord, don't let it be a trans person that shot him. And then I said, I really hope he doesn't die. 30 minutes later, he comes to my office and is like, oh my God, Misty, he died. Political violence is never, never the answer. I am shocked and appalled that it happened. I am disgusted that it happened. I think the fact that it happened is morally reprehensible. The fact that he was talking about trans shootings and the exact question that he was asked right before it happened, I'm assuming the person asking the question was trying to educate him because he was on the stage with the platform of trans people and mass shootings and trans people with guns or whatever. And the person said, in the last 10 years, do you know how many mass shootings were done by a trans person? And he said, too many. And then unfortunately he was shot. Obviously, from a sniper, I think it was 200 yards away or 200 feet away or something like that, and couldn't hear what he was saying. So the topic of the question or the thing was probably not related. But I'm sure the interviewer or the person asking the question was going to educate him that in the last 8 years, according to Gun Violence Archive, in the last 8 years, 4 mass shootings involved a trans person. In the last 8 years, 127 of those mass shootings were by females. And in the last 8 years, 4,012 mass shooters were men. But I agree, too many trans people have been mass shooters in the last 8 years. 4. That is too many. But 4,012 is way, way too many. Is people the problem? Or is guns the problem? Going back 10 years, 0.11% of mass shootings in the last 10 years have involved a trans person. Mass shootings have involved a trans person in the last 10 years. And I'm sure that's what the interviewer was going to say. But every year in November for Transgender Day of Remembrance, we honor the trans people that have lost their lives to violent crimes and hate crimes. 73% of trans humans have been murdered at gunpoint. And trans people are 4 times more likely to be victims of a gun shooting or gun violence than they are to be the perpetrator of gun violence. I have no idea who the shooter was. I hope to God it wasn't a trans person. But regardless, it should not have happened. What's shocking to me is I think Charlie Kirk is the one that said somebody needs to die. Sometimes people need, I'm trying to remember the quote, sometimes people need to die by guns to prove that guns are needed. And I recently saw that our current administration was discussing the option of making it illegal for trans people to own guns. Which is alarming because, again, I already told you, trans people are 4 times more likely to be victims of gun violence, and 73% of the hate crimes committed on people are at gunpoint. Now, I don't know why Charlie Kirk was shot. I don't know if it was the fact that he spreads misinformation. I don't know if it's the fact of his stance on COVID or his stance on Black Lives Matter or his stance on gun violence by trans people. But this individual stood for free speech, and this person stood for political debate. I think that everyone has a voice and everyone has the right to share their voice. I think it's very important that people are allowed to share their thoughts and opinions. Unfortunately, in his situation, it's misinformation. He has no idea how many trans people have committed mass shootings in the last 10 years, but no matter how many that is, it's too many, which I do agree with. Violence, any number of violence is too many. But statistically speaking, trans people being the perpetrator of gun violence, minuscule compared to the heteronormative, cisnormative counterparts. Even women, 127 in the last 8 years. What happened to Charlie Kirk is devastating. It is sad. It is disgusting. And my final thought is, if it's not the guns, and it's not the access to guns, and it's not the guns that are the problem, why is it the books that are the problem and not the people reading the books? And when you get on stage and you spout your facts of your confirmation bias of, see, these people are bad, maybe you should fact check. Yes, trans people come in all shapes and sizes. Trans people come in all colors. Some trans people are far left and some trans people are far right. And some trans people have mental health issues. And some people have been bullied their whole life. They're just fed up and they need to. And yeah, in the last 8 years, 4 trans people have been mass shooters. It's a sad day. It's a very sad day. And I am sad that Charlie Kirk passed. And I'm sad that he was shot. And I'm sad that somebody turned to gun violence. And it's disgusting that he was sharing misinformation about trans people while it happened. And I really hope that it wasn't a trans person doing it. Thank you for watching. Loving is easy.